guys, welcome to Driveway Liberty Podcast. I am your Uncle Wes, and we are sitting in the driveway, man, and I've got a bright-ass light in front of my face. And I'll fix that in just a minute. I know I look like a ghost. I look like I've been...
Look like powder.
Oh, yeah, I've been powder. Oh, and I didn't start this. Okay, let me start that.
All right.
It is...
Are we streaming?
Yeah, we are streaming. I forgot to start the audio, but, you know,
Not showing
I'll,
up.
I'll fix that in a minute. We're not
Not mine.
on Facebook?
Yeah.
Or are we shadow banned?
Maybe.
Can I tell you, International Women's Day memes and memories started popping up. And my favorite one was this sign, and it just said, "You could have ironed it." Sorry.
That's all right. Wait, I'm showing we're live, dude. Here, let me go look. Because that would suck.
We built this city.
We're not. Why not? I may need to back up and punt. All right, hold on.
Start all over again.
Yeah, that fucking stuff is. Check YouTube real quick and see if we're there.
YouTube just popped up.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome to Driveway Liberty Podcast. We're having a couple little technical difficulties with our Facebook side of the stream. So thank you so much for watching where you're at.
I've prepared a soliloquy just in case this happened.
Oh yeah?
No, I have not. But
We got
it'd have been a lot cooler if I did.
Yeah.
I will have a cold open monologue in the back of my mind ready for future technical difficulties.
Yeah, you should. Absolutely should.
And, you know, we got to talking about bands and broken testicles and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was
Driving pontoon boats. And
yeah, we had. Well,
it was a lively debate. We have not been together much off the podcast recently.
No, we haven't,
true.
man. It's been crazy. It's been weird.
Dan didn't show up to see his good friend play the other night like I did.
I had a game, man. It's baseball season, so I'm all over the two counties. I'm
Yep.
firing.
Yep.
And believe it or not, I've been selected to go to states again.
All right.
Are you going to actually go?
Yeah.
So if you're just joining us, we are going to do the intro theme again.
Oh, let's.
You are so awesome.
Hey guys, welcome to Driveway Liberty Podcast again. I am your Uncle Wes. I'm sitting here in the driveway with my good friends Travis and Dan, and we've got some cool stuff to talk about. But before we do that, how you boys doing?
Doing good.
I am very excited
Yeah.
for tonight's cast
All right. You should be, man.
because not only I feel like I've missed you guys.
Yeah, man. I mean, right.
I really hate to say that about Dan, but
All right. So I'm telling you. All right. So I absolutely regret that Dan kind of chimped out. That's not the word. Chicked out on us Saturday night. I was actually going to come over. I wish I'd come over. I did the yard sale thing.
yeah,
Sunday
I
morning.
got good and lathered up Saturday afternoon, so I was ready to go.
Man, I made a whole $20 at the yard sale thing,
Hell yeah.
and probably put in $2,000 worth of labor. Always, all right. Something I've noticed since we do yard sales here in Florida versus Georgia, you always have the guy that has the booth at the local consignment shop in Fort Walton Beach that stops by to ask if you've got any DVDs.
Really?
Every fucking time he stops by and he says, "Hey man, you got any DVDs?" And my comment every fucking time is, "Do you see any out here?" No, but I was
What,
wondering
are
if maybe
DVDs a hot commodity?
I guess
in the
he's
booth
killing
community?
it. He's coming and giving you a buck and a half a piece for DVDs,
Okay, so
and then he's selling them for $5 in his booth.
So good friend of the podcast, Micah, his son who has autism,
Yeah.
loves opening and closing DVDs and taking them out and all that. So I mean, they've probably got 1,000 of them. Maybe that's I don't know. Maybe that's a big thing. Anyways,
Maybe. You're on camera right now by yourself.
I thought about you Sunday.
Yeah.
It was fairly warm. I was like, man, I bet that sucks sitting out there. trying to
Dude,
get somebody to buy your shit.
I got lobster face, and then I rode up to rode up to the outpost in Fort Walton Beach. I mean, not Fort Walton Beach, Freeport.
Freeport?
Yeah, right there
Getting
on
some
the
meth?
Chalk-Hatchet. No. Well, I had a friend who plays in a band, and they were playing up there Sunday, and he guilt tripped me. He was there Friday night we were playing. He was guilt tripping, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show this son of a bitch. I'll go up here and see them, and they're not bad. They're a good band, Easy Rider band. They made some musical choices that I wouldn't make, but that's the cool thing about music, man. It's subjective.
Playing ABBA?
No,
Just kidding.
you know, they were. I mean, it wasn't so much the song choices. It was, you know, how they did the songs that I would have not necessarily agreed. I wouldn't do them that way, but that's cool. You know,
So-
they were good songs, and they did a good job.
So I'm excited for the live stream tonight
Yeah,
because we're going to talk about 2 stories, and I think there's like multiple themes throughout our podcast that just proves this to be true. We're going to talk about it again.
all right.
Then for the audio cast, all right?
I just pulled a Dan. I'm sorry.
Then for the audio cast, we're going to talk about how Bernie Sanders is now a red-blooded conservative, through and through.
Right.
So you got to turn into the audio cast for that. Bernie Sanders came to our side, finally realized what was going on, and really excited about that.
You should be, buddy. You should be.
So
I am. If you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I am. I'm actually sharing the podcast, and I want to thank you each in advance for doing the same, because that's the cool thing to do. And you know what? Conservative media all across the board really is shadow banned on social media sites like Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that. So any little bit you can do to give us a little help there and share the cast would be greatly appreciated, man. And John Nash, we're trying to speak up best we can, brother. You know what? If you'd go sponsor us on patreon.com/Driveway Liberty Podcast, we're getting really close to be able to upgrade our audio for the live stream. So
yeah.
that would be most helpful, but we can't.
Also, you may see him walk by here soon. Happy birthday to Dan's son this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18.
This time next year, he'll be over in Ukraine with a M4.
No, he won't. No, he won't.
Oh, man.
Man, I thought I was excited until I was 18. What's going on?
Very dark,
Who's dark?
Travis.
Okay.
Oh, am I dark still? I'm
Is
not.
that-
I changed the light, so hopefully I'm not ghosty looking.
Well, it was bright at first, and that's all right.
Yeah. Well, this is where I'm gonna stay right now. I think I'm good.
All right. So
Happy birthday, man.
happy birthday. Congrats on going to Ukraine next year.
Yep.
So,
That ain't happening.
So there's that. So hey guys, we do have what y'all want to talk about first? I mean, we got Atlanta police riots. We got J6 stuff
can we
on Tucker.
let's start with Atlanta because I think that's a shorter conversation.
Okay.
Which means it'll go 45 minutes, most
Right.
likely.
No
and
doubt.
then we'll go to the January 6th stuff. Because
Okay.
I think these 2 stories are correlated in a way that I don't know that everybody's thinking about. So let's start. Dane, you got stuff on the Atlanta riots?
Yeah.
No. Oh, yes.
Hey, while he's pulling that up, can I give a shout out? All right, so Mike Barker, our local county commissioner, I know Travis probably wants to recuse himself from this. He stepped down. He has taken a job as city manager in Definiak, which pays for what I think about $90,000 a year. So you can't blame a man for doing that, especially when you're being sued, and you know it's not looking really good. And there are a couple of really quality people who are actually have applied for Governor DeSantis's appointment to join. So one of which has been on this cast, Gordon Porter.
Okay.
He ran for school board last year.
Mm-hmm.
His father, Michael Porter, has also applied.
Okay.
So I'm really curious how that dynamic's working in the family. And then Sean Rowling,
All right.
Kevin's wife, has applied. And so we've got at least 3. From what I understand about Michael Porter, he's just as he has a lot of character, just like Gordon does.
Apple doesn't fall far from the
Right?
tree.
Yeah. And
Kevin said 142K for the manager.
142K. Why
To
did
manage that crap hole?
Man, I should have fucking applied for that.
Shit.
Damn.
Dang. I would think I'm more qualified. I at least have a degree in political science, and I've had some classes on urban development and planning.
And a real non-government job.
In a real non-government job, where I wasn't a cop or a county commissioner.
All right.
And I'm not being sued for whatever he's being sued for. But anyway, so
right. We ready for the Atlanta stuff? You want to keep trying to get me in more trouble, or
no, you weren't part of that conversation. You weren't part of that conversation. Mike Barker does not own a restaurant, as far as I know.
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah, right.
All right, so I guess I can start with like the lead up to it. So I guess what's happening is in Atlanta they have approved this complex training center for police. So it's going to have a shooting range, bomb house. I mean, there's all kinds of. It's big. It's like 85 acres. I think originally it was 150 acres. They trimmed it down because part of the problem that people are bringing up, environmentalists, is they're building it in a forested area around a river in Atlanta.
Right.
And I guess the area they call it is like the Four Lungs. Like, I guess there's a cross section and there's trees all over. They showed a map on the one website I saw. So they had a protest back in January where allegedly one of the protesters fired on a police officer, injuring them, and the police officer returned fire and killed the protester.
Right.
So that was in January. So they had cleared the site. So basically, if you've seen the videos, what you're looking at is just a cleared construction site with some equipment. The trees are all cleared out, and then you got the fencing around it like you would a normal construction site. And then the police released aerial footage, and it's literally looks like a swarm of people coming down the I guess the cutout where the power lines run.
Right.
And they're rolling through, and they're all dressed like Antifa, which you know is Antifa. Face mask, all black.
Right.
Yeah.
Boom.
Black bloc. Yep.
Yep. And there's police in the area there, and then you see there's no sound, but you see the mob coming in, and the police kind of backing out. And there's a street, and then on the other side of the street they have another area has a gate. Right. So all the police go behind that as this crowd descends upon this construction site. And the way the people who are pro-communism describe it is they were shooting fireworks off.
Of course.
What they were doing was they had those big mortars.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
they're technically fireworks.
Right.
But it's the kind that could kill you.
Right.
Nice.
The big ball mortars.
Yeah.
And instead of shooting them in the air like you're supposed to, they're shooting them at the cops.
Oh, wow.
Like the video shows a mortar hitting right next to the gate and exploding.
Oh, man.
And it was pretty crazy dangerous.
And I should point out that those fireworks are illegal in Georgia.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point. It's not Alabama.
Right.
So eventually it escalates. The police kind of backed off and didn't really engage him that much from the video that I saw. They burned a bulldozer. I mean, they lit shit. They
burned a construction worker's truck.
Right.
Yeah, they lit whatever was there on fire.
Your wife and Jamie are listening.
Awesome. Great.
They just made a comment. Hey, Amelia.
And I guess 25 of the individuals have been arrested.
Right.
And some are from Georgia, but a significant amount are from out of the country.
Yeah.
They're not even
Canadians, French.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they've been brought up, a significant number of them have been brought up on domestic terrorist charges, which they should be.
Well, that would be the 25, or the U.S. citizens can be brought up on domestic terrorism. Mm-hmm. It's regular old terrorism if they're from out of country.
Yeah, it's just good old terrorism.
It's just good old regular terrorism.
So part of the reason I wanted to talk about this story is when we talked about red states recently and how red states should operate.
Yeah.
The National Guard Georgia Bureau, literally everybody should be there rooting these folks out.
Yeah.
And using whatever force it takes.
Right.
And I hate to say that.
Like they would for January 6th.
Right. I hate to have to say that. However, if you're a red state, you have to respond in a force, not only to stop this from happening, but to keep it from happening in the future.
With them shooting mortars at the cops, they want that.
Yeah,
That's exactly what they want.
Give it to them. Get them
Because
the hell out of your state.
They are sitting there on TikTok and they're live streaming this shit.
They want a certain amount of it because they want to be able to show videos of the police being violent against protesters. They want that narrative out there.
But that narrative's out there. No matter what happens, that narrative's going to be out there.
Yeah,
stop this from happening in your red state.
If they attack you and you attack them with more force than they attacked you, which, listen, you come into my house with a knife, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to attack you with more force.
But this situation, that is the small potatoes. This situation is what you have to do as a red state is you have to put up a fence and say, do not bring your shit here. If you try this, we will stop you immediately.
Right.
Period. End of story. The second you think about getting violent, we will root you out. We will send everything we have in our power as the governor of the state of Georgia to get you the hell out of my state. You want to go do that in Washington, Oregon, California? Have fun.
Well, that was the point I was going to bring up. Is you shoot mortars at me, I'm going to mow you down.
It shouldn't even get to that point. It's already been violent.
Kevin brings up a good point. He says, I hate we have to refer to what red states should do. It should be all states that do
It should be all states.
But unfortunately, we already know that the blue states, part and parcel, Washington and Oregon, are going to allow them to take over a city and do whatever the hell they want to do.
But when red state governors have to realize this is a zero-sum game. There's a winner and a loser. You have to win. Period.
Well, you have to fight the battle that is being fought against you.
Yes,
we're not fighting that battle.
Look, when you have a toddler, right, and then you've had like 37 of them.
Yeah.
And they start throwing a tantrum, you have to win that battle. The very first time. You can't give up. You can't back down. You can't give in. Why? Because if you give in the first time, then the second time, and you try to push back, it gets a little more, and it gets a little more, and it gets a little more. And eventually, you can't stop it short of rolling the military in.
Right.
You have to stop this. Look, I agree. It should be every state that stops this nonsense, but that's not the country we live in. Red states, you have to put up a fence and say, do not bring your shit here. Do not do this.
We're already at the point where you got to rule.
We just had a audio cast come out. Is it time for a national divorce? That's what we discussed. And
here's the point. If you don't stop this now, then next time they come back and it gets worse. And it gets worse.
Well, you empower them.
And then eventually somebody's going to come up that's going to stop them. The citizens of Georgia are going to say, hey, we want somebody to stop this. And the person that they choose to do that is not going to be a good person.
It's
not who you want to empower.
But Travis, we're already past that point. We had the 2020 riots. Nobody stopped them.
Well, and they're emboldened by that. It's like a damn chihuahua that growls and chew on an ankle. Everybody's scared of that little sumbitch until somebody steps up and keeps him from doing that.
And you know what the funny thing is, and we'll get to the January 6th stuff here in a minute, but the narrative on the national media is that the right-wing extremists are extremely violent and they perpetrate violence all over the country, white supremacy, all that crap. The only actual evidence of violence is the stuff that happened on January 6th. It's actually the far left that is extremely violent, and we have multiple examples of it. And it's been happening since Trump announced.
But see, here's the problem with Republican politicians. They judge what they're going to do by what the New York Times is going to write. Hey, here's a hint, guys. The New York Times is going to hate you, no matter what.
Yeah.
And if you're making a decision based off what the media is going to say, you're not the right person. You're just not.
But we already know, and when we start talking about the J6 stuff that Tucker has been revealing, we already know that if you care about what the media says, you're in a lot of fucking trouble. Because, and this isn't against Tucker, this is against media as a whole. I mean, soon as that first story came out, where he was talking about Q Shaman and all of that, they immediately came out and started bashing him, saying he's releasing misinformation about this. It's he's falsely saying this. Those were the headlines.
Yeah.
But you watch the damn report, and there's no way you can misconstrue.
Well, because
that shit.
at some point, I guess as a part of this lawsuit that's going on with Fox, Rupert Murdoch has admitted to something. So that is the narrative. So when Chuck Schumer's on the floor of the Senate and says, Rupert Murdoch even admit that Fox lies, he can't allow Tucker to go on TV tonight, which was the night after he showed that, the videos. It's you to both your points, you're not going to win a PR battle with these people.
No,
because the PR people
fight it.
are on the other side.
Don't fight it. Don't fight it. There's no PR battle.
Ignore it.
There's no PR battle. Go do what's right.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis routinely will not let media members into
do
events.
what's right, and then afterwards go in front of a camera, do a press conference, and tell them what you did.
I don't even care if you do that.
Well, that's what DeSantis does.
Well, on some stuff, but he won't even let the media in. Like I don't know if you guys follow his press secretary, not Pushaw, but Brian Griffin, and they get requests from all these different things for comment about this, comment about that, or sit down, and they just send back a one-word response. No. Send.
Mm-hmm.
No. Hey, can you give me a comment on this? No. Like that's the point. And it sucks to be at this point in a nation that you have to think in a zero-sum term, but that's where we're at. Why are these people in Georgia of all places?
Well,
why in Georgia?
Because it's a purple state now, and they're trying to push it.
Well, because they own the Senate in Georgia.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, because they've got a weak Republican governor.
Mm-hmm.
Like go try this in Arkansas with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, in Oklahoma with Stitt, in Florida. Like let's go through the good Republican governor. Go try that there, and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
It never gets to this point. So now, if Kemp had stopped this when it started, we wouldn't be at this point where you got to use more force.
Right.
All right, and that's the point. You have to stop this immediately, and you have to be swift, and you have to put a fence around your state, and you have to come out and say to the press conference you're talking about, hey, if you want to do anything besides peacefully protest, great. You ain't doing it here. Period. You can peacefully protest all you want. The split second, I will send every available resource to stop you. The split second, you are no longer peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks to be in that place as a country, but that's where we're at. That is the reality. And if you don't stop this, if this keeps happening in Georgia, then it moves here, and then it moves there, and then it moves there, guess what? You're going to have somebody on the right that comes up who's going to stop it.
Yeah.
And he's going to stop it in a way.
It's going to be ugly.
It's coming. And that's why I keep begging these Republican, right-wing, whatever the hell, stop it now. What's coming in the future is going to make Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis look like teddy bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've said that for a while, that eventually it's going to get to the point where to stop this shit.
Well, when you think about Julius Caesar and all the stuff that led up to that, all the corruption for like 150 years in the Senate and all that, yeah, it sucks that they lost the republic when Caesar came in. But how do you stop that?
Yeah.
It took that force. It took Caesar marching his forces on Rome to stop that.
Yep.
Just is what it is. Could have been stopped 100 years before
Exactly.
that.
We got a couple of comments we probably ought to address. A lot of them from Kat. Kevin says the red states get custody of the kids. I like that. Kat says the left are freaking out and in panic mode because evidence is being presented to prove that they planned it, and they have been lying to the American public. And we have to remember, that there are those in our Republican Party that are part of that Unity Party. Yeah, we're going to talk about Cocaine Mitch's statements in just a minute.
Oh, I've loved the last couple of days. I loved what Cocaine Mitch said. Tom Tillis, all of them. I absolutely loved it.
Calling what Tucker did bullshit?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, you know what the first rule? Like, Brooklyn had a beach volleyball match today.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I knew which team was which? Well, they had different jerseys on. So before I know who we got to go beat, I got to know who's on my team.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you wear a
And
jersey?
those three are not
Oh
on
yeah,
our team.
yeah. That's my point. Yeah, exactly. That's
So now we've got all this clarity, and Mitch McConnell. Okay, cool. You're not on it now. Not that we needed more evidence.
no, we didn't need
Hey,
any more.
Tom
for Mitch.
Tellis, if we got listeners in North Carolina, get him the hell out. Like all these folks, like part we talked about with Dr. Ward. Part of picking these battles is we are forcing people. You're taking a side.
Yes, absolutely.
And we haven't done that for 50 years. And so now it's like, hey, do you want shirts or skins? Oh, you're on shirts? Cool. We're skins. We have to defeat you.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, I loved what they said. Just please out yourself for exactly who you are as many times as possible.
I'm not mad at that.
Told you,
Not
I was
mad at
excited for this.
Yeah, right.
All right, so we'll get into J6 stuff.
You want to get into J6? Do you want to go and listen to a little bit of the history?
Yeah.
Just the
So we
2-minute
got
one with
a little,
Tucker?
little history lesson.
Yeah, I think so. I
Okay.
can't remember time. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
And go.
Well, as far as we know, for more than 2 years, 26 months to the day, actually, no media organization in the country pressed to see the actual tape, the January 6th surveillance footage. And there was a reason for that. So a small group of people, which would include the leaders of the Democratic Party and their allies in the media, had a complete monopoly on what you were allowed to know about what happened, what actually happened in the Capitol on January 6th. And they defended that monopoly with great ferocity, as monopolists tend to do. So the moment we broke that monopoly, simply by getting access to the footage, is not hard. That's what you're supposed to do when you work in the news business. Other media outlets went crazy. They all did. And we just couldn't resist, not to be self-referential, but it's too hilarious. So we assembled a montage. Here it is.
What we saw tonight, Allison, from Tucker is nothing new. He has been trying to sanitize the very real violence that we all saw unfold at the U.S. Capitol.
41,000 hours of footage from an attempted coup is federal evidence. How on earth is Kevin McCarthy trying to justify the fellow members of Congress giving 41,000 hours of federal investigative evidence and material to Fox News?
This is the danger of not fairness, unfairness. You should give it to every news organization at the same time.
What's next? Is the Speaker of the House going to turn over the daily schedules of the Capitol Police? Are they going to give them the codes to the locked doors?
Nobody that believes any of that garbage Tucker was spewing, none of their kids will ever believe that garbage.
It feels like a Soviet system, or, the way the Nazis would build a Potemkin village. Tucker Carlson's doing the same thing with the footage from 1/6.
Footage.
We're both Soviet and Nazi. What you're hearing, of course, is panic. It's fear. A hurt dog barks. But it's still pretty fun.
So basically what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen, is the spin is out. I mean, if we didn't learn anything from the Twitter releases after Elon Musk took over, is that there is a conspiracy afoot, and those perpetuating it are counting on your continued apathy. That's what's going on here. And they have tried to get out ahead of this story of Tucker Carlson releasing this footage. And based on what you're seeing, there's no way it could be doctored or bullshitted of what he's put out there. I mean, I watched the and we'll show you in a minute, the Q Shaman video where he's walking around with like 12 capital city cops in the Capitol, and they're not doing a damn thing.
Yeah, they're
to
like
him.
trying to open doors.
They're open doors for him. And it's absolutely ridiculous that all these news organizations are actually attacking Tucker.
Well, they can't, because they have to, because the narrative...
This is totally opposite of what we've been told for a year.
Oh, absolutely. Because of what I said earlier, is they finally got on camera an instance of right-wing violence, and they had to exploit it for all that it was.
So the real shame in all of this is that for a year, anybody that's spoken out or questioned this has been shamed. They've been forced into
2 years.
whispers. 2 years.
That's-
2 years. 2 years. They've
That's
been
the MO. I mean,
been
they did that with COVID,
forced
I mean-
into corners of whispering conspiracies and concerns over this shit, and they've been ostracized from society. I mean, you've had people that's been taken off the air because of this. They've questioned it.
But that's nothing new.
And,
I mean, it's nothing new.
It's not, and that's what's fucking ridiculous about it.
They've been playing this game. They started it with the whole Trump-Russia thing. They got Republicans to admit, yes, Russia did interfere with the election. Like, remember, that was just a big talking point over and over again. Yes.
Yeah.
Russia did interfere. But, and then you have to give a but sandwich. And everything after that, nobody hears. And then you roll in the COVID stuff where they just canceled anybody that didn't go along with the narrative. It's no different here in January 6th. They have a plan to literally destroy any conservative in the country.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We'll get to
The
that.
ideals, the values, Christianity, they want to destroy all of it.
Absolutely
And they
all
will
of it.
use any means necessary.
Well, and this is part and parcel of I know I hammer this all the time, the Alinsky method, where you make them think they are fucking nuts for bringing this shit up. And you have conservatives who question this stuff. They're thinking, oh, well, maybe not. Well, you're a J6 denier. You're a J6 denier. You know,
Fuck
you're
yeah,
an
I'm a
idiot.
J6 denier.
You're right. Yeah, but I mean, we have always been. But I've heard people who are scared to bring this stuff up in public because of the narrative that was going on.
Well, listen, that is the Alinsky game that's been played all along. You can just pick not even a conservative, but an anti-left member of media, Alex Jones. You couldn't say his name. They made it to the point where if you were a supporter of Alex Jones, you were just vilified and ridiculed. You can go down the list. They're doing it to Tim Pool now.
Well, what's the biggest social media insult of a conservative right now? Oh, you're probably getting your information from Fox News.
Yeah.
In Fox News is mainstream media. They are the largest news organization right now.
Well, sure. They're the enemy. They're the ones showing.
Well, if you question the regime in any way, if you question it on January 6th, if you question it on COVID, if you question it on Russiagate, if you question it on the body dysmorphia issue, if you question the regime in any way, you're their enemy. Period. This is no different than the Soviet Union,
right?
In how some of this country is operating, in the fact that there was a running joke, and I was reading a little bit of an excerpt of a book. There was a running joke in Russia in like the 70s and 80s, and it was like, oh, I turned in Ivan, whatever.
Ivan.
Yeah, but I should have turned in Gregor because he had a bigger room.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is what we're living through. We still have enough freedoms, and look, let's not forget the reason we have this. Kevin McCarthy doesn't do this with a 250 seat Republican majority.
No.
5, 6-ish Republican congressmen forced this.
Absolutely, they did. Absolutely, they did.
Out of 435.
Well, guess what?
I know it's time for beer.
It is time.
Well, Dan wouldn't shut up. I was trying to get a point in.
Right? Damn. All right, here we go. I've added a little something special tonight. You guys let us know what you think.
It is time for beer reviews. Beer reviews. Beer reviews.
How about that, man? We're getting fancy around this joint. Look at there, man. So it is time for beer reviews, and let's go to Trav. What you got over there, buddy?
So Dan's gonna be proud. I was in a hurry and wanted a different beer than I had, and just our gas stations have crappy beer selections around.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I struggle with.
And so anyways, the best option I had is Yingling. So
that's a pretty good option.
I bought those this weekend, but my buddy kept offering up his beers and his bourbon, so I didn't drink many of them. So I got quite a few Yinglings left. So
nice.
I got a shit ton in the fridge.
I have no doubt, Dan. I have no doubt. But yeah, so
ever since we found out that
Fat Tire,
New Belgium was communist, I rolled over there. Don't anybody out there, please tell me. Do not tell me that people who run Yingling are communists. It will break my heart.
It will. What you drinking, Dave?
Well, in honor of the ending of the season and the new season coming in, I had to get my porter on.
Okay.
So I'm drinking vanilla porter from Breckenridge Brewery. Nice little 5.4 ABV. It's
right.
And I actually like the vanilla aftertaste. It's a good beer.
I got you. Well, I am drinking. I've actually already drank it, but I am drinking a Cosmic Crown, which is a Belgian style strong golden ale. And by strong. It's like 9%, man. It's and I forget who brewed this. Is it Cigar City?
Yeah, that's Cigar City.
Yeah, Cigar City, man. It's quite tasty. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to let you boys chat for a minute because I got to pee, man.
All right. Good. Play a video.
Well,
I can't play it, and then because I've got to do the transition when I come back.
But going back to the if you question the regime, like this is the issue. And there was a clip in that Tucker clip there. It was the black gentleman, and he was saying, and he emphasized the word federal. These are federal documents. These are federal documents. These are, and I'm like, federal just means it's mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Dan's, and any other tax-paying citizen.
Yeah.
But no. He doesn't view it in that manner because it's government above all else. Government is God to that person.
Yes.
And you just basically took $20 out of the offering plate. He thinks about it the exact same way as we would think about the offering plate getting passed around and somebody taking $20 out of
it. It's a religion to them.
Yes.
And it's well, I guess the religion part plays because they worship it. So it's the big government above all else because they're going to solve everybody's problems.
Yep.
And then any authority that they have, they're in their right to use it. And it has no limits.
Right.
And they're cool with that because they're not going to be the target of it right now.
Right.
Well, we all know how this game plays out. Eventually, all those people, if this thing goes by way of history, America becomes another version of Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia or China, some version of communism, socialism, etc. If it goes that way and the government, if 2030 happens and we own nothing and we like it,
yeah,
those people aren't going to get the freaking golden box like they think they're going to get.
Right. No. My favorite is the threads on Twitter or TikTok that I see. It's like, oh, what's going to be your job under socialism? Oh, I'm gonna teach little kids how to read Spanish on this farm. Like, no.
You're going to be digging the ditch out.
You're going to be on the farm, but
you're going to be handing out the roll of shitty toilet paper.
Yeah. Like
in the public bathroom.
Congrats, you're now the plow horse because you had to kill the horses to live, and eat them. So, these people are so
well. They believe that our rights are given to us by this government.
Yes.
Not that they're there to protect those rights, but they're the ones who give us those rights. That's why they can change everything. This is a human right.
Well,
housing's a human right.
Which is why I continue to say it until we push back so much on the education system and we get away. This is my personal opinion. I know Dr. Ward disagreed with it. He's a lot smarter than I am. I don't care. Call it indoctrination. But it can't just be we teach 2 + 2 = 4. No. Hey, in America, because it's the greatest fucking country ever lived, 2 + 2 = 4. And if you have 2 guns and you get 2 more guns, guess what? You got 4 guns that the government can't take from you.
Right.
That's how math needs to go.
Yes.
Okay? It can't be we think in these neutral terms and what we think should happen in a utopian type era. And there's so many conservatives that are just like the kid saying he's going to teach kids Spanish on the farm in socialism. that live in this utopia of we're just going to, you can't stand in front of somebody from 8 hours a day and not pass on your worldview. You can't do it.
Right.
Okay. I assure you, my people that work for me, even though we don't talk a ton of politics, know exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Machine shop needs to be taking a lower and an upper, drilling it out, and putting your AR-15.
Exactly. You know, when they roll up to meet me and I got the "Don't Tread on Me" license plate, I think it's pretty clear.
It means something.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and so we have to get out of this mindset of this utopian. No. We have to push our values, American values.
Yes.
Down their throat.
Yes. Hey, instead of critical race theory, we're gonna have critical gun theory. And when you get to math, all right. So let's say you got gun squared plus AR squared equals
1,000 bullets cost
exactly
$700. What does one bullet cost?
And that's how you slowly start to turn this to where you don't have this moron sitting on CNN or MSNBC or whatever the hell channel he's on talking about this is federal property. Federal property, dude. Federal property means it's mine.
Right.
I technically own part of a lot of tanks and airplanes.
Yep.
Yeah.
The way our country was founded.
Fax machines
and
robots and all kinds of shit.
You know what I'm
shit
saying?
ton of land.
Yeah. So, like, that, to me, I hear that and I'm like, man, we're so far gone. That person's so far gone. It's never coming back. That's why I keep saying it's a zero-sum game. I don't want it to be a zero-sum game. I'd love that person come sit in this driveway and we have a nice, honest conversation where we both learn from each other.
But you can't convince them the sky is blue.
I understand.
Well,
that.
the thing
that's
is,
why I said I would like to.
Yeah.
Their ideas cannot compete with ideas of liberty. That's why they try to hush them up. They try to shut them down. They try to control them because it doesn't meet their narrative. And when you actually sit down and have a logical conversation, logic wins.
Look, we don't have the clip, but Chuck Schumer standing on the Senate floor yesterday, today, I forget when it was, talking about Fox News needs to be censored. And Jesse Kelly pointed this out. I listened to him about it. He said, you know what? As this country was founded, he would have never got off of the Senate floor without going straight to jail.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely.
You are United States. You're the Senate Majority Leader.
You're Senate Majority Leader
literally calling
for
violation of the First Amendment.
Yes.
Correct.
You should be shot immediately.
Well, I'm not going that far, but you should.
After a fair trial.
You should damn sure not be on the Senate floor the next day.
You should be shitting your pants thinking I should never say something.
But if we ever got to that point, they would never say it. Mm-hmm. If Chuck Schumer was seriously scared for his job, if the people of New York weren't part of the cult and just going to reelect him,
yeah,
and we had to go have real debates, and his opponent says, well, you know, Senator, as a Senate Majority Leader, you stood up and tried to take away somebody's First Amendment right. Now, in any real country, and back in, probably 100 years ago down here, a lot of Americans look around and be like, yo, I don't necessarily agree with this dude on all that, but you're not gonna violate someone's First Amendment right.
Right.
Period. But that's not the country we live in.
Well, that's all part and parcel of the education system, how we've stopped teaching people that you were born with this right, and it's a right that should be protected even when you disagree with it. Now words hurt, words are violence, words are wrong if they hurt your feelings, and it doesn't matter what you were born with as far as this inalienable right.
Right.
And that's right. So let's actually look at one of the videos of what really happened on January 6th. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Dangerous conspiracy theorist dressed in outlandish costume who led the violent insurrection to overthrow American democracy. For these crimes, Chansley was sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison, far more time than many violent criminals now receive. What did Jacob Chansley do to receive this punishment? To this day, there is dispute over how Chansley got into the Capitol building. But according to our review of the internal surveillance video, it is very clear what happened once he got inside. Virtually every moment of his time inside the Capitol was caught on tape. The tapes show that Capitol Police never stopped Jacob Chansley. They helped him. They acted as his tour guides. Here's video of Chansley in the Senate chamber. Capitol Police officers take him to multiple entrances and even try to open locked doors for him. We counted at least 9 officers who were within touching distance of unarmed Jacob Chansley. Not one of them even tried to slow him down. Chansley understood that Capitol Police were his allies. Video shows him giving thanks for them in a prayer on the floor of the Senate. Watch.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us in this building.
Contrast the reality of what Jacob Chansley did in the Capitol building on January 6th. The industry.
So you see, I mean, at one point I counted, 8, 9 officers around one individual.
Yeah, an unarmed individual.
Unarmed individual.
They not highly armed individuals.
They could have taken him down at any point if they genuinely felt like he was overstepping.
You know how they described him? He was armed with a flagpole with a spearhead on top. So that's how they categorize him as armed.
Well, you had 9 police officers highly armed.
With weapons.
With weapons.
It's
that
ridiculous.
fire deadly projectiles.
The reason they persecuted him, and I'm going to say persecute, not prosecute. The reason they persecuted him and he got 4 years is he had the audacity to defame, and the iconography of him up there in the just shows how weak how weak they actually are.
Yeah.
That's what they persecuted him for. Not for going in the Capitol, not for going in the Senate chamber. None of that. They persecuted him for that look that will last forever of a dude in freaking face paint and buffalo horns, standing in the Senate chamber.
Yeah.
That's what they persecuted.
He was a symbol.
Yes.
Well,
and they had to take care of, like you said, the iconography. That's a word I've never been able to say.
Well, when he went to trial, he was faced with like 20 plus years they were throwing at him. And that's what happens so often. It happened with the whole, the people who were prosecuted under the Trump regime, etc. What they do is they have unlimited money and resources, threaten you with the book, and get you to plead down.
Well, when
then you plead down to a lesser crime, now they have the narrative that you're guilty and you admit it
because you've pled down.
Yeah, you pled down.
The Justice Department of the United States is no longer innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent.
No, well,
they're going to get you on something. They're going to threaten you with this, and they'll bankrupt people like General Flynn, make him sell his house, to the point where you can't defend yourself anymore. So that you plead out, and then they have the narrative to say that you're guilty. There's hundreds of people that have pled.
All right, I'll talk in a minute, I guess. It's like Kat was saying earlier, where you've got those who are part of the Uniparty, and those are Cocaine Mitches and the rhinos, all of the rhinos up there, and they are basically, they're all on the same fucking team. They pretend to be on 2 separate teams, but they're not. And what they're doing is traitorous.
No, look,
it's treason.
Look, again, we divided up into shirts and skins. That's what this footage is doing. We're dividing up into shirts and skins,
right?
And people are telling you what team they're on. And look, I gotta be honest with you. I've had my issues with Trump. We've talked about that. But he's been, the last week or so, been spot on with this, especially after this stuff came out on Tucker. Now, you can say, hey, he could have done more before he left office. Could have done more since then. But, he's on like, hey, we got to release all of them right now. Set them all free. Like, we have gulags in the United States. We have political prisoners.
Right,
yes.
Absolutely. Which is absolutely antithetical to what our founding fathers wanted.
We are living in a fascist state.
Absolutely.
It's just somebody a curtain of Republican democracy representation over it. The facade of that to make it look like we have actual choices. The power structure that is in place is completely fascist, and the fascist part, it's a little different version of what you would normally think of historical fascism, because there's corporatism involved. We've seen it in COVID, they're using corporations to do the things to get them around the Constitution.
Right.
But we are 100% a fascist state. 100%.
Well, on our most recent audio cast, we talked about a national divorce and what that might look like. And somebody made the comment on that particular cast on Facebook of, oh, so you're for just tearing up the Constitution and doing exactly and destroying everything our forefathers stood for. And
That's already done,
my
dude.
point is that that's exactly what your elected representatives are doing right now. They are in it for them. They are up there. Talk about corporatism. They've got these cash cows in place, and they will do anything to preserve that.
Listen,
even at the
Constitution is a piece of paper. As great of a piece of paper as it is, it has as much bearing on our life as the Magna Carta does currently.
Well, if we
Which
would
is
follow
close to none.
it, if we would follow it,
we elect leaders that don't follow it.
So that's my point. Okay, we have convinced ourselves on the right, constitutionalists, freedom lovers, whatever the hell we want to call ourselves. Okay, we have convinced ourselves that this piece of paper will save us. That piece of paper is worthless. Okay, that piece of paper means that we have to go act upon those things. Liberty and freedom is an action. It's not something that you just find and you just keep. Okay, it's an action. It has to be protected. It has to be preserved. And we haven't done that for 50 years. We've just let it go.
I'd say longer than that.
Well, I mean, however many years.
In degrees.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the
snowballed
thing.
into the situation we're in now.
I mean, you chip away at an ice sculpture, one chip at a time, and that's what's happened. We started off with this nice, big, beautiful block of ice, and we've allowed the left to slowly chip away to make this big Stalin sculpture that's in Leningrad.
Well, okay, so we just talked about the Senate Majority Leader standing on the floor of the Senate and calling for the First Amendment to basically go away.
Yeah.
For Fox News.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Senate Minority Leader saying that this is bullshit when it's clearly
right. So
not.
How many of our constitutional amendments do you think Chuck Schumer actually respects?
0.
No, he likes the 19th because they get a lot of the women vote.
Yeah.
Like maybe 2 or 3 tops. So we've got all these amendments and we've got this great document and it's not protecting us at all. I don't have a machine gun. Why?
Well, because the document was put in place to form the government that's supposed to abide by that document, and our government doesn't.
Look, I'm going to quote Steve Dace. I know we've said it a million times, but it is the most succinct way I've ever heard this country explained. We are not a nation of laws, and we never have been. We are a nation of political will, and we always will be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why, again, the political will to get Kevin McCarthy against Kevin McCarthy as speaker is what got us these January 6th videos.
Yes.
Okay? The political will of Ron DeSantis and his backers to keep Florida free and go fight to do, I believe the exact quote was, a Sherman's march through the institutions of Florida.
Yeah.
That is political will. That is where we have to get to. The Constitution is a phenomenal piece of paper.
Sure.
That's all it is. If we don't protect it.
If we don't have the will to protect it.
If we don't have the will to protect it. Okay? Like Chuck Schumer, let's just be honest here. Chuck Schumer should be scared to death to stand on the Senate floor and say we're going to take away the First Amendment because of the second one. Like, nah, man, that's not how we roll around here.
Yeah.
And we have relied on this piece of paper as this, like, well, I mean, they can't do that. Well, bullshit. I see about every one of them. Every amendment I can see violated all the time. No knock warrants. There's a Fourth Amendment violation.
How many of the people who are currently in jail for the January 6th situation have had their Fifth Amendment?
Fourth and Fifth Amendments.
Oh, shit.
Right.
Like all of them.
Yeah,
all of them.
There's no, I mean, where's the due process in that?
None of it. They just locked them up.
Just Fourth and Fifth.
Listen, we had Trump calling for the violation of the Fifth Amendment when he was talking after the shootings in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
No, it was Parkland.
Was it Parkland?
Arrest them now, and the court system takes it.
We'll do the due process later.
Yeah.
That's Trump saying that.
Right. No, again, we have for too long just like, whew, man, we got this piece of paper. It's going to save us. No, it's not. Clearly. Like, and if you need any more evidence, I don't know what else to say. I love it. Like, it's a great document. It's probably the best founding document in the history of Earth, and it probably will be forever.
Sure.
It doesn't protect us unless we force it to protect us. and elect the people that will protect us. And if they don't do this, then they get put out of office. Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul are in the same fucking state.
Yes. How? Yeah, I mean, I've asked that question. Kat brings up a question, a point here. I would like to know why Jim Jordan and the rest of them have not released the January 6 people out of that jail. Well, that's where they're following following the law, is because they don't have that authority to do that. I mean, the president's the only one that has the power to.
I believe that's Department of Justice stuff.
Yeah,
I think. Don't quote me on that.
We're fucked in that regard.
But again, I mean, our Constitution is not set up to have Congress let people out of jail.
Right.
That's the separation of powers. I mean, it's
that's not their role. Unfortunately,
we try to keep going back to these founding documents and our founding fathers, and as great as all of that is, it doesn't mean a whole lot right now.
Right.
It just doesn't. That hurts my heart to say that, and it took me a long time to get to this point. Okay, let's just go back to George Bush. George Bush unilaterally invaded 2 countries without a declaration of war.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Patriot Act.
The Patriot, well, that was at least voted on.
You talk about the Department of Homeland Security.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Syria. Let's talk about Yemen. Let's talk about all the funding going to Ukraine. None of this is constitutional in any way, shape, or form, and it's not protecting us at all. The only way to protect us is to get, look, it took 6, 5, 6, 20, however many you want to say, to force Kevin McCarthy into these positions, and it's paying dividends 2 months later.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like that is the mindset we have to get in. We have to get in that paper is great, doesn't really mean anything unless we go out and enforce it and protect it. And we can do it the very peaceful way of getting the bad people out of office. Like, hey, team shirts. If you're on team shirts, we're doing everything we can to get you out of office.
Yeah.
You're on team skins. We like you, but just know, you put on a shirt, we're gonna get you out of office.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Mitch McConnell was scared at all that he was going to get a true primary, like, there's no way he would say that. None.
Well, the problem we have is a very huge portion of our voting bloc is so apathetic they don't pay attention to this.
Look.
And then the other part is all bought in.
Well, Rush used to talk a lot about low information voters, and he was correct. Except he misjudged that the vast majority of voters on both sides are low information. Oh, hey, wait, I like my guns. I see an R. Check for Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Check for whoever. Tom Tillis. Check for Adam Kinzinger. Check for Liz Cheney.
Yep.
Right? Oh, well, they got an R by their name. They're going to go fight for my rights. No, no, they're not. Not all of them. And
the sad thing is the majority of them aren't.
No, again, we talked about 6 almost stopped Kevin McCarthy from being speaker, and 6 out of 435. That is 1.5%, 1.6, probably 1.4. All right, but a very, very small minority of people forced this stuff to happen.
Yeah.
Imagine if 100 people had stood up and said, "Yeah, I'm not voting for you."
Yeah.
So you know what my favorite narrative from the left on this whole Tucker Carlson releasing the tape thing is that he released selectively edited clips to show a version of what happened at the Capitol. Dude, like January 6th committee was all selectively edited clips. Like they're complaining that he's doing what they've done.
Exactly what they've done.
Yes.
I mean, they have released like the little bit of footage of folks breaking windows.
The best part was, and I forget who it was. Was it Josh Hawley?
Yeah, it was Josh Hawley.
So they show a clip like this was a part of the January 6th commission. They showed Josh Hawley running. The narrative was he's running in fear of the insurrection that he started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you show the whole clip and literally all of Congress is kind of hurrying out, and then Hawley's just by himself, like right behind this crowd. So they selectively edited out that one to make it look like he was running for his life, and the reality of it is everybody did it.
And after that, Hawley should have walked straight into Adam Kinzer's office and beat his midget ass.
Yeah, he absolutely should have.
Look,
The people who are getting, this is the part that's frustrating. The people who are getting abused don't fight for themselves.
Oh yeah,
right.
If I ever, this is why I would never be. If I ever got elected to Congress and somebody did that shit to me, I would walk up and punch them in the fucking face on the Senate floor or the House floor. I would, the Kane shit that happened back in the day, I would be in a fist fight with some motherfucker who portrayed me that to my voters.
Yeah.
In such a lie, we'd be on the floor fucking battling it out.
Again. And this is what I hear. Oh, they're hypocrites. It's not hypocrisy. It's hierarchy. It's hierarchy. Okay, like that is, and again, I don't know. Like, I would love to say, hey, we go do this one thing.
Yeah.
There isn't one thing. It's a million things.
It's a million things, and it's a million things
staying
every day.
engaged and being involved and watching. You've got to watch these sumbitches. Because as we see, just with this January 6th stuff, they are trying to pull a fast motherfucking one
here's a perfect
every
example.
time.
We have the best governor probably in the history of governors. Okay, and the only real red wave that happened in the entire country happened in Florida. Mm-hmm. Was it every single county went more Republican than it was 2 years ago? Right, something along those lines.
Yeah, pretty damn close.
Literally landslides, historical elections. And I don't know how many of them. Oh man, like we're getting constitutional carry. And then the bill that's
it's a watered down piece of shit. Is what it is.
I think that's going to change because there's been so much outrage. But there has to be that kind of outrage. You have to watch these people. Look, I like Shane Abbott. I voted for him. I saw it on his Facebook page, like, oh, this Constitution. Here's 3 reasons why. No, it's not. I don't know what you read, buddy.
Yeah,
and I love you. But you didn't read what I read,
right?
Because it's fairly it's like 2.5 sentences. I don't even know, like.
Yeah. It didn't take a lot of time.
How you could name that a constitutional carry bill is ridiculous. So basically, you're eliminating the fee even for concealed carry.
It's a prime example of why you, and I'm pointing to you at home, and the 4 people watching right now need to be involved. Kat's involved. I know she's engaged, and Kat's talking about we need an army to rise up and tackle this monstrosity. And you mentioned veterans earlier, and I think we're going to unfortunately have to rely on veterans really soon, because the people that are in the military right now you can't really count on them. Some of them you can. I don't want to diminish everybody that's still currently again, active duty.
With not even supermajority is not even right. Like Alabama type majorities in the House and the Senate, and then best governor in the history of governors, most likely.
Yeah.
And this is the bill you give me. Now look, on the flip side, they push forward a 6-week abortion ban. All right, to me it's 6 weeks too many. It's 9 weeks better than the 15 we talked about last time.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're headed in the right direction. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this basic constitutional, air quotes, constitutional right, you should have named that the, hey, drive away liberty, go screw yourselves, shut up talking about constitutional carry. Because that's all it is. It's just trying to get enough people to shut up about it to move on.
Yeah, it's semantics is all it is.
Well,
that's where I was going with it.
It's not even semantics. It's the wrong title for it. It's all right. We're going to eliminate the fee.
It's on purpose
for constitutional carry.
It's on purpose because if you don't dig in or you don't know, you see, oh, they talked about constitutional carry. Here's constitutional carry.
You look at the Facebook post and the constitutional carry was a huge
all right,
letter.
So theoretically, and we're technically over, but they pass that bill and they call it the constitutional carry bill. How many sumbitches is going to get arrested because they're not in compliance with the actual bill because they think they have constitutional carry? They play the semantic game, the PR game with bullshit titles.
Well, and this is supposedly our side doing this.
Yeah.
Well, and that's my point. You have to watch every sumbitch.
Like put forth a real constitutional carry bill and name it the I Love Puppies bill. And when in the left or even the freaking, Republicans that don't really believe what they say they believe start, what, you don't love puppies? Why don't you love puppies?
Yeah, exactly.
You hate puppies? How could you hate puppies?
Man, that's just wrong.
All right? Like, they do this all the time with the naming these bills, and it's Republicans and it's Democrats. They're just as bad. They got this cool title. Joe Schmo is going to see
the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Ooh, and then eggs go to
what? You don't want to reduce inflation?
Yeah.
The whole thing fucking inflates inflation.
The CARES Act.
The affordable care Act. Hey, whoa, you don't want affordable health care? What's wrong?
Yeah. It's PR. That's all it is. It's like wrapping a turd in a gold bow and saying, "Hey, don't you like this gold bow?" Well, there's a turd in it. But nobody sees the turd because there's a gold bow around it.
I need some dimensions of this bow because
it's huge.
It's like wrapping a gold bow around a turd.
No, well, it's
wrapping a turd in a gold bow.
What kind of dog laid the turd?
It's a whole.
I'm sorry. I hate to get into semantics here, but I got questions. That's probably a good place to end.
Yeah, it is.
Gold bow turds.
Gold bow turds are, you need to watch out for those. So, with that being said, guys, hey, if you don't already sponsor us on Patreon, consider it. Go to patreon.com/Driveway Liberty Podcast. You can sponsor us for as little as $5 a month. If you'd like some free merch, consider sponsoring us for a little bit more. If you'd like to advertise on the podcast, go to the Driveway Liberty Podcast /advertise. With that being said, if nothing else, you don't want to give us any money, you don't want to advertise, you can subscribe, like, and share the cast everywhere.
Do it on Rumble.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yeah, we'd like to
Rumble
to start doing some live stuff on Rumble.
Yeah,
Rumble.
But there's some it's not user friendly, and there's some minimum qualifications we need your help with.
Crowder's going to Rumble, starting his own company.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So maybe he'll return my email that I sent.
Maybe.
We'll see. So with that being said, I am your Uncle Wes. For Travis and Dan, we'll see you next time on the Driveway Liberty Podcast.
Peace.